Good morning and welcome to Veterans Park. In this place, our city and our community comes together to salute the men and women who have bravely fought and sacrificed for the freedoms that we all value so much today. It's also a place where families, neighbors, and friends gather to play, exercise, and enjoy the wonderful outdoors, all among the beautiful memorials that honor and remember the wars, conflicts, and the service members who fought in them. And we honor the family members of those veterans with our Gold Star and Blue Star memorials here in Veterans Park. My name is Susan Lamb, and I am fortunate to serve as the council member for this gorgeous park and some of the neighborhoods that surround it. Thank you for coming to our annual Veterans Day appreciation ceremony on its 5th year. It is important that we always remember this day and what these memorials stand for. Elmer Davis was the director of the U.S. War Information under FDR during World War II, and he once said, "Ours will remain the land of the free, so long as it is also the home of the brave." It's hard to imagine a more meaningful act of bravery than stepping up, leaving your family and loved ones behind, and placing yourself in the way of danger. We are here today to honor and remember those who were brave, those who came home, and those who didn't, or still have not. And for the ones who have paid the ultimate sacrifice, those who are MIA, and for our POWs, we want to pause for a moment of silence in reflection of their service. Thank you. Chaplain Joe White serves the veterans and families that come to Lexington's VA hospital. His work there is invaluable and appreciated so much. I would like to invite Chaplain White to come bring our invocation.
Gracious God, we thank you for this day that you have made. We thank you for the beauty around us. Most especially on this Veterans Day, we thank you for our U.S. veterans and their families. We acknowledge the significant service our veterans have provided to protect and preserve this great nation, and we are humbled at their sacrifice. Teach us, as a nation, that the greatest way to honor our veterans is to, whenever possible, prevent war. Teach us also that if we send them to war, we also must care for them and support them as they return. Lord, we thank you for our veterans. We thank you for this opportunity to honor them even now, with this assembly and with many other events in this community, the state, and the nation on this day. We ask those that are veterans, those veterans present even now, we ask that they may know that they have the gratitude of their nation behind them. And we thank them for their service, and Lord, we just ask that you will bless them and keep them and watch over all of us. In your holy name, amen.
Everyone, please remain standing. We are so happy to have Miss Johnny Bishop and over 100 of our neighborhood children join us today to sing. Let's welcome the Veterans Park Elementary School Choir as they sing our national anthem.
Through the perilous fight, o'er the
Thank you, Johnny, and thank you, choir. Just beautiful, and to be able to involve our young people in this wonderful event, it's a glorious day. Thank you. You all may be seated. We're going to hear from Mayor Gorton, Congressman Barr, and Ms. Brown in just a moment. But before we go any further, I would like to recognize some of our other officials who are with us today. We have Director Gregory Goins of the Lexington VA Healthcare System, State Representative Cheryl Ann Stevenson, Council members James Brown, Jennifer Reynolds, Richard Maloney, Angela Evans, Kathy Ploman, Fred Brown, Preston Worley, and hopefully I haven't missed anybody. Josh McKern, yes. And I hope I haven't missed anybody else. Please excuse me. Oh, yes, Judge Thurston. I'm so sorry. I knew that I was going to miss it. This is a glorious thing because there's so many people here. So, yes. And also I want to recognize the members of the Mayor's Commission on Veterans Affairs. I really appreciate those that are able to make it today, too. So thank you all for joining us. We're so pleased to have Mayor Linda Gorton with us today. She has been serving as mayor since January of this year, and she has been one very busy mayor. She also served as Lexington's vice mayor, and before that, she represented the 4th District of the council as a council member. She is a very personal veteran connection herself, and please help me welcome Mayor Linda Gorton.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. The sun is shining, and actually when we're in it, it's hot. The sun feels good. I'm really happy to be here with you today and want to thank Councilmember Susan Lamb for continuing to organize this wonderful event. Thank you so much. Today we're here to talk about Lexington's veterans and all veterans, but first I want to thank the Veteran Park Elementary Choir. Thank you all so much. Also, I too add my thanks to the City's Commission on Veterans Affairs. The Commission members continue to work to provide support to our veterans and raise awareness of veteran needs in our community. So thank you to those who are here. Since November 2nd and going through this Saturday, our region honors veterans with dozens of events. It's our Week of Valor here in Fayette County, and this year we've actually expanded it to 2 weeks. Over the past several years, Lexington has worked hard to become a great place for veterans. We formed our Commission on Veterans Affairs. We started hosting the Week of Valor, including the Veterans Parade, which is this coming Saturday. And we've been working with the Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame to hold their ceremonies in Lexington the past 3 years. This year, we're very focused on making Lexington even friendlier to veterans. We have a Veteran Affairs liaison inside the mayor's office for the first time ever. We announced an effective end to veteran homelessness this spring in Lexington. I've sent off 2 honor flights and served as a guardian on one of those. We've installed dedicated veteran parking signs at several of our city parking facilities. We're working to become the permanent home of the Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame. And we currently have an active military intern in the mayor's office, thanks to a program with the Army. And next year, we will host the Veterans Engagement Action Center, a one-stop shop for veterans to sign up for all the benefits they deserve and get on-the-spot support for any problems they are having. Lexington is becoming more and more veteran-friendly. We are intentional about this. I just came from a special breakfast we had for our city employees who have served in the military. They committed their lives to military service and public service. It was an opportunity to say thank you, and we had many of them show up. As Susan, Councilmember Lamb, alluded, this is a very personal issue for me. I'm a military spouse. My husband, Charlie, who's here with me today, is retired Army and Army Reserve. I'm also a military mom. My son is active duty Army. My son-in-law is active duty Air Force. My father, 4 of my uncles, and 1 of my aunts served in World War II. I understand what being in the military means from a spouse and a mother perspective, and how important it is for our community to support our veterans and their families. I've lived through the times of having a son serving overseas during wartime, not able to talk with him, not knowing if he's safe or not. It is not easy being a military spouse. As a registered nurse, I've worked at a military field hospital. I understand the support needed by our service members who are injured or our veterans who need care. And I want to thank all of those who have served in our military with us today and the family members and friends who support them. If you are a veteran or a family member, a lot of you are standing, will you give us a hand look around you. This is awesome. Thank you so much. This park is dedicated to our veterans and families. It's a beautiful park filled with life. Every day you see families strolling down these trails. It is also a place of solitude and reflection. Here we have memorials to those who lost their lives during military service. We have monuments for veterans and the family members who stood with them. On this day, we reflect on all our veterans do for our country. We should always continue to support them every day and provide comfort to the families. Thank you all for being with us today, and thank you also for those who served our country. Thank you so much. Appreciate being here.
Thank you so much, Mayor. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Now we are pleased to have Congressman Andy Barr with us today. Congressman Barr has served the 6th Congressional District since January of 2013. He is a member of the Committee on Financial Services and is a ranking member of the Oversight and Investigations Committee. He is also a member of the House Committee on Veterans Affairs, and he is a member of several caucuses that work directly on military and veterans issues. His office also maintains the 6th District Veterans Coalition. Please join me in welcoming Congressman Andy Barr.
Well, good morning and happy Veterans Day to all of you all. Thank you especially to Councilmember Lamb for once again hosting this terrific event to honor our nation's veterans. This community and its veterans greatly appreciate your continued work and commitment honoring those who have served our nation. And this is an appropriate place to have this recognition. Obviously, Veterans Park is a beautiful park. As I'm sitting here on the front row looking at the memorial to the Vietnam veterans of Fayette County behind me, I see the name inscribed Leonard Lee Preston, Jr. My father knew Lieutenant Preston, and unfortunately, these heroes that are inscribed in these memorials underscore the tremendous sacrifice of so many of these veterans. To the students of Veterans Park Elementary singing in the choir today, thank you so much for lending your beautiful voices to today's gathering. And I would also like to recognize Mayor Gorton, whose office and work should be commended for accomplishing an important milestone earlier this year, as you indicated, when it certified an end to veteran homelessness in Lexington, as well as to Mrs. April Brown of the Kentucky Department of Veterans Affairs, who works daily to support our veterans across our Commonwealth. And to Director Goins, welcome again to the Commonwealth and to the Lexington VA. Thanks for getting off to such a great start, and thank you for not only your leadership at the VA, but your service as well to our country. Most importantly, I want to thank all of you here today who are veterans yourselves, and to the current military service members, their families, for your unwavering commitment to our country. Thank you to your tremendous service and sacrifice to this nation. Veterans Day is a very special day in our country. Founded originally to memorialize Armistice Day, the date marking the end of World War I, Americans annually have the opportunity to take this day and thank those among us who have answered the call to serve their country. While the First World War was named the war to end all wars, the authors of that title have unfortunately been proven wrong in their accuracy. Since the end of World War I, Kentuckians have continued to volunteer in engagement after engagement, war after war, putting on the uniform to go to faraway lands to defend our nation and our Commonwealth, following in the footsteps of frontiersmen, militiamen, and soldiers who have bravely fought and sacrificed since Kentucky's inception. One recent example of this Kentucky heroism is Lieutenant General Scott A. Howell of Cadiz, Kentucky. Lieutenant General Howell is currently the commander of the Joint Special Operations Command at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. The command's Special Operations Force carried out the mission in Syria on October 26 to take out the leader of ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Flying in on helicopters, U.S. forces landed in northwest Syria to take out the long-sought leader of ISIS. Reports from the raid tell us that when the assault force arrived at the compound, enemy fighters in the vicinity of the compound began firing on U.S. aircraft, forcing our American forces to respond. Last week, we received a briefing on this matter from the Joint Chiefs and from the Secretary of Defense, and what they described to us was nothing short of incredible heroism. The U.S. Special Forces then provided an opportunity for any personnel to surrender, effectively working to draw women and children away from Baghdadi's compound and out of the line of fire. As a result, 11 children came out and were protected by U.S. forces. Inside the compound, U.S. forces discovered Baghdadi hiding in a tunnel. When capture was imminent, Baghdadi detonated a bomb, killing himself and others. While the ISIS leader chose to avoid U.S. capture, the raid led to the collection of a substantial cache of documentation, electronics, and 2 ISIS fighters that can be used to continue the fight against this terrorist state. After the raid, Secretary of Defense Mark Esper said that, quote, "With our partners, we defeated the physical caliphate of ISIS earlier this year, and now its founder and leader is dead. This is a major victory in the enduring defeat ISIS mission." I agree with Secretary Esper. Thanks to the heroic actions of our special forces, this raid showed the world that we remain committed to removing this group, this terrorist threat, from every corner of the globe, no matter where it hides. While this raid received much media attention, it is important for all of us to remember that for every publicized mission, there are countless acts of heroism, valor, and sacrifice performed by our service members every day that we never hear about. And this should give us all the more reason to take time to listen to our veterans and hear their stories if they are willing to share. 2 veteran stories that I have had the privilege of learning about were that of 2 Kentuckians, Private Troy Bowling and Private First Class Franklin Sowsley, who both fought bravely in the Battle of Iwo Jima during World War II. If their names sound familiar, it is because we were thankfully finally able to name the VA medical centers here in Lexington after these heroic Kentucky veterans in legislation signed by the President just last year. So through the work of the Veterans Affairs Committee and on behalf of all of my colleagues on the House Committee on Veterans Affairs, I want to just say thank you once again to all of the veterans for your service and your sacrifice. We are continually humbled at the sacrifices that our veterans have made for our country, and one day, frankly, is not enough to honor all of the weeks and months our service members have spent away from their families defending the freedoms we all enjoy. Thank you again for all who have served and to their families. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you so much, Congressman Barr. Next, we are so glad to have Miss April Brown with us today. April knows very well the issues and challenges that many of our veterans face today, especially female veterans. She served over 2 decades in the Kentucky Army National Guard and works today as the program manager for the Kentucky Veterans Employment, Training, and Support at the Kentucky Department of Veterans Affairs. Please help me welcome April Brown.
First, I want to say thank you, Mayor Gorton and the City of Lexington, for hosting this celebration of our veterans. I also want to thank all of our dignitaries here today. Congressman Barr, thank you for your kind words. All of our council, men and women, and our judge that's here today, one of my favorite. And I just want to say thank you to the school, Veterans Park Elementary. What a wonderful job. I too sing the national anthem, and that would be a very tough act to follow. So you did a fabulous job. Thank you so much, and it truly touches my heart. I also want to say thank you to all of our veterans here today, and I know we have several, and I didn't get to see all the hands raised because my back was to you. If you would raise your hand if you're a veteran. Wow. So thank you so much, each and every one of you. Everyone who serves is deeply appreciated in my heart always. So thank you for your service and your willingness to answer the call. I want to quote Barry Snell of the Iowa State Daily. He says, "The word veteran itself means someone who has had a great deal of experience with something or in a job. For purposes here on Veterans Day, that means someone who has experience in the military, and quite often in war. But that doesn't tell the whole story either, because being a veteran has a greater meaning than just being someone who joined the military. A veteran is someone who had the intestinal fortitude to walk into a recruiter's office and sign their life away in service to their country. The politics behind America's military actions are debatable, and the reason why a person joins the military are many. But the common thread is the sheer guts it takes to hand the blank check over to your government for the amount of up to and including the most valuable thing that person has, and that's their very life. No holiday says America the way Veterans Day does. On this day, we celebrate not just our freedom, our independence, our democracy, but the sacrifices made to achieve them. We honor those who fought on our behalf, in our defense, and for our freedom. We thank those who sacrificed their time, their health, and their lives. And we pray for those who now serve at home, overseas, and in harm's way. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the wonderful families that also serve and sacrifice for our military. Freedom isn't free, independence isn't forever, and democracy isn't for the faint of heart. The blessings of America have been brought to us by our veterans, so our thanks, our gratitude, and our honor all belong to them. It was the needs of World War I, the veterans, that prompted Congress to expand benefits for veterans, including insurance, disability compensation, and vocational rehabilitation. And World War I set the standard for American valor and determination in battle and laid the foundation for the broad array of veterans' benefits and services that we are able to provide today. So Veterans Day itself, as Congressman Barr mentioned, was a result of World War I. Armistice Day marks the day the Allies and Germany signed the document ceasing hostilities. It took effect at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, a moment we still commemorate today on Veterans Day. Part of Kentucky Department of Veterans Affairs, we look at the numbers of veterans in Kentucky. In the last census for the Federal Department of Veterans Affairs, there are over 280,000 veterans serving in Kentucky or residing in Kentucky. They are veterans of every conflict, a peacetime military effort since before World War II. They are of every race, every religion, every socioeconomic background, and every life experience. Everyone who served is a veteran. There are over 25 million of us. And to point out very specifically, we are of both sexes, and often our women veterans don't identify themselves as veterans. So when you ask someone if they served, ask the women, have they ever served? If you ask if they're a veteran, they may not answer that. But we are every race, every age, every religion, every ethnic background, every political allegiance, every educational level, every kind of job, every physical description, every economic circumstance in every city, town, and rural county in Kentucky. There is not a demographic category in this nation, no matter how small, that does not include veterans. We've all served honorably. We are all veterans. Stand tall, take pride in your service, veterans, and take comfort in knowing you are a member of the largest and most diverse family in America, veterans of the U.S. Armed Services. I ask that each of you here and those watching to reach out to the veterans in your community. They are all around you, continuing to serve honorably in civilian life as they served honorably in the military. I told someone today that I see veterans every day that continue to serve in their 70s, their 80s, and their 90s. They continue to serve because they have that incredible heart for service. One last quote as I close from John Fitzgerald Kennedy. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. God bless our veterans and our active forces. God bless our leaders, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brown. This is absolutely I just love this day of this year. I wish that we had this once a month we could have this day. We heard from the Veterans Park Elementary School Choir earlier, and they're coming back to share another song to inspire us on this day.
Over hill, over dale, we have hit the dusty trail as those caissons go rolling along. Counter march right about, heroes flag and soldiers shout as those caissons go rolling along. Chorus high, high, ye in the field artillery, call out your numbers loud and shout 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and wherever you go, you will always know that those caissons go rolling along.
Marine song.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we have high our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honors clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines.
Coast Guard.
So here's our Coast Guard marching song. We sing on land or sea, through service arm and howling gale, high shall our purpose be. Semper Paratus is our guide, our fame, our glory too. To fight, to save, or fight to die, I Coast Guard, we are for you.
Navy.
Stand Navy out to sea, fight our battle cries. We'll never change our course, so vicious, or too shy. Roll out the TNT, anchors away. Sail on to victory and sink the boats for Davy Jones, hooray!
Air Force song.
We go into the wide blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, soon to meet our thunder, and the boys give 'em the gun. Down we dive, cutting our flames from under. Off we come, wonderful roar. We live in fame, or go down in flames. Hey, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force.
I think that they deserve another round of applause. You know, they came and joined us 2 years ago, and they came over, and we actually had it up on the basketball court at that time, and it was like we grew this amazing relationship with the Veterans Elementary Choir, and I am so grateful that you all could come back today, and also that we're learning from our youth, but we're also teaching our youth the value of appreciation for this very important day. So thank you all, each and every one of you, for coming over here today. Thank you so much. Before I go forward, I got to make sure that I take a moment to thank everybody that set this up. This didn't just happen. Our wonderful, wonderful City Parks Department employees, the Lex TV crew, thank you all so much. And then my wonderful legislative aide, Kenny Bishop. Thank you all for your help today in setting this up so that we can all enjoy this event and sit here in comfort. And also, we've got some goodies over here. We have hot chocolate and coffee, I believe. So now, to those here today who wore the uniform or still do, on behalf of a very grateful city, we want to say thank you. You are our heroes, and today we want you to know that we see you, we hear you, and we recognize you as heroes. We want to say thank you to the families of those heroes. Your sacrifice has not gone unnoticed. Thank you. God bless our veterans and the U.S. service members who are serving today. God bless our city, and God bless our great country. Please stay around and enjoy this beautiful day in the park and the refreshments. Thank you all for coming today. Thank you so much.